Maya Thompson woke up in a metal cell that smelled like rust and fear, while strange purple lights flickered above her head, making shadows dance on the walls. 6 months ago, she was fixing cars in her garage in Kansas when the sky turned black, and giant ships appeared above Earth taking people who looked strong enough to fight. The aliens who took her were called the Crozan Empire, and they had blue skin with 6 fingers on each hand. They spoke in clicks and whistles, but Maya learned their language quickly because she had to survive. The guard who brought her food every day was named Vex, and he told her about the arena where she would fight. Or die. Today was different because Vex came early and his face showed worry as he opened her cell door with shaking hands. "Human, you fight the princess today and nobody has ever survived her blade," he said while looking at the floor. Maya stood up from her hard bed and stretched her muscles that had grown strong from daily training in the prison yard. She was not the same person who fixed cars anymore because the arena had changed her into something harder and faster than before. The walk to the arena was long through tunnels carved from purple stone, while other prisoners watched from their cells with sad eyes. Some were green with scales and others were tall with feathers, but all of them knew that facing Princess Zalara meant death. Maya entered the preparation room, where alien weapons lined the walls like deadly art pieces. She picked up an energy sword that hummed with blue light and felt its weight in her hands while remembering her father, who taught her to never give up even when things seemed impossible. The arena doors opened, and bright light from 3 suns hit her face as she walked onto red sand that had seen thousands of battles. The crowd roared with excitement because they loved watching the princess destroy her enemies with her 4 arms and perfect fighting style. Princess Zalara stood at the other end of the arena, and Maya saw her for the first time, understanding why everyone was afraid. The princess was 7 feet tall with purple skin that seemed to glow and silver eyes that looked right through Maya's soul. Her white hair floated around her head like she was underwater, and her 4 arms each held a different weapon. The crowd became quiet as the 2 warriors faced each other, and Maya noticed something strange in the princess' eyes that looked like sadness, or maybe loneliness, hidden behind the cold mask of a fighter. The battle horn sounded and Zalara moved so fast that Maya barely saw her coming. But instinct made her roll to the side as 4 blades cut the air where she had been standing. The crowd cheered, but Maya focused only on staying alive as she dodged and blocked the endless attacks. Hours passed and the 3 suns moved across the sky while the 2 warriors danced their deadly dance. Maya's shirt was torn, and blood ran down her arm, but she kept fighting, because giving up was not in her nature. The princess seemed surprised that this small human lasted so long when others fell in minutes. Zalara spun like a tornado with all 4 arms creating a wall of sharp metal, but Maya found an opening and struck, with her energy sword cutting a piece of the princess armor. The crowd gasped because nobody had ever damaged the royal armor before. The princess stopped and looked at the cut on her arm, then at Maya, who was breathing hard, but still standing ready. To fight. Something changed in Zalara. Silver eyes as she saw the determination in this human who refused to fall. "You are different from the others." "Human," said Zalara, as she lowered one of her swords slightly. Maya wiped sweat from her eyes and managed a tired smile while keeping her guard up. "My name is Maya, and I am different because I have something worth fighting for, which is getting back home to my family." The princess tilted her head, studying Maya like she was a puzzle that needed solving. "Your family must be special if they give you such strength to stand against me when warriors from across the galaxy have fallen at my feet. They taught me that real strength comes from protecting what you love, not from destroying what you fear," replied Maya, as she adjusted her grip on the energy sword that was starting to feel heavy. Zalara took a step forward, and the crowd held their breath expecting the final blow. But instead, the princess did something nobody expected by dropping one of her 4 swords onto the sand. The emperor stood up from his golden throne far above the arena floor, and his voice boomed across the space telling his daughter to finish the fight. But Zalara did not move as she continued to stare at Maya. "This human speaks truth, father. And I grow tired of killing for your entertainment," said Zalara loud enough for everyone to hear. The crowd started whispering in different languages while guards moved closer to the arena edge, ready to interfere if needed. But the princess raised one hand to stop them. Maya saw her chance to attack while the princess was distracted. But something inside her said, this was not the way. So she lowered her sword too, making the crowd gasp again. The two warriors stood facing each other in the middle of the arena with lowered weapons while 50,000 beings watched in confusion, because this had never happened in the 1,000-year history of the games. Zalara smiled for the first time Maya had seen, and it changed. Her whole face from cold warrior to something almost beautiful despite the alien features. The silence in the arena was so complete that Maya could hear her own heartbeat as she stood facing Princess Zalara, who had just smiled at her. The crowd of 50,000 aliens seemed frozen in their seats, waiting to see what would happen next. In this strange turn of events, Zalara walked forward with slow steps that made the sand crunch under her feet, and Maya noticed how graceful the princess moved. Despite being so tall and having 4 arms, the other weapons in her hands disappeared into sheaths on her back as she approached. Tell me more about this family that gives you such courage. Human Maya, said the princess as she stopped just a few feet away, close enough that Maya could see the patterns in her purple skin that looked like stars. Maya felt strange talking in the middle of a death match, but something about Zalara made her want to share her story. My mother Susan taught me to fix things with my hands, and my father Jack showed me how to stand up for what is right, even when you are scared. The Emperor voice thundered from above, ordering the guards to enter the arena and force the fight to continue. But Zalara raised all 4 of her arms and spoke with authority that made everyone listen. By the ancient law of champion choice, I claim this human as worthy of the trial of understanding, shouted Zalara, using words that had not been spoken in the arena for 500 years. Maya did not understand what was happening, but she saw the Emperor sit back down in his throne while the crowd began talking excitedly in their many languages. Vex, the guard who had brought her food, appeared at the arena edge, and his blue face showed shock. The trial of understanding was an old tradition where a royal could test a warrior through conversation instead of combat if they found them worthy. It had been forgotten by most, but the law still stood, and even the Emperor could not break it. Zalara turned back to Maya, and her silver eyes seemed softer now as she spoke. This trial means we talk instead of fight. And if I find you worthy, you may leave this arena alive, which has never happened for anyone who faced me. Maya felt hope rise in her chest for the first time in 6 months, but she kept her face calm as she nodded her agreement to this unexpected chance at survival. The princess gestured to the sand, and both of them sat down facing each other while the crowd watched in amazement as their deadly champion sat in the dirt with a human prisoner. Tell me, human Maya, why do your people fight so hard when they are clearly weaker than most species in the galaxy? Asked Zalara with genuine curiosity in her voice. Maya thought about all the humans she had seen in the prison and how they helped each other survive even when things seemed hopeless. We fight hard because we care about each other, and that caring makes us stronger than muscles or weapons. Ever could. Zalara listened and seemed to consider these words carefully before speaking again. My people believe strength comes from conquest and fear. But watching you fight today, I saw something different that I cannot name. It is called Heart Princess, and it means fighting for love instead of fighting from hate, replied Maya as she drew patterns in the sand with her finger. The crowd had grown quieter as some of them moved closer to hear the conversation between the unlikely pair sitting in the middle of the bloody arena. Zalara looked at the patterns Maya was drawing and recognized them as earth symbols for peace and family, which she had studied in her research about the new species. Your people make art even in the middle of battle arenas, which shows a spirit my people have forgotten. Maya smiled and added more patterns showing trees and water and mountains from Earth that she missed so much. My grandmother Lucy used to say that beauty and kindness are the strongest weapons against darkness. The princess reached out with one of her 4 hands and added her own patterns to the sand, creating alien symbols that looked like flowing water mixing with Maya drawings. Our artists are forbidden from showing weakness through beauty, but I have always created in secret. This admission made Maya look at Zalara with new understanding, seeing not just an alien princess but someone who was also trapped by expectations and rules they did not choose. The Emperor stood again, and his voice was angry as he demanded the trial end. But Zalara stood up, pulling Maya to her feet with gentle strength. Father, I have found this human worthy, and by the old laws she is now under my protection, declared Zalara as she placed one hand on Maya's shoulder. The crowd erupted in chaos because no prisoner had ever survived the arena through the trial of understanding, and many did not know if they should cheer or protest. Maya felt the weight of thousands of eyes on her, but she stood tall next to the princess, who was risking everything to save her life. Thank you, Zalara. But what happens to me? Now the princess looked down at her with those silver eyes that seemed to hold entire galaxies, and spoke words that would change both their lives. You will come with me to the palace as my chosen companion, and together we will show my people that there is another way, besides endless fighting. The guards approached to escort them out of the arena, and Maya saw Vex among them, giving her a small nod of respect as they passed. The walk through the tunnel was different this time because Maya was walking beside royalty instead of being dragged as a prisoner, and she noticed how other aliens bowed as they passed. Zalara led her to a transport ship that would take them to the palace, and as they sat together, Maya asked the question that had been burning in her mind. Why did you really save me, princess? Because I know it was not just about the trial or my fighting skills. Zalara was quiet for a moment as the ship lifted off and the arena grew small below them, before she answered with honesty that surprised them both. When I looked at you, I saw myself trapped and fighting for others' entertainment, and for the first time in my life I wanted to save someone instead of destroy them. The palace of the Crozon Empire floated above the clouds like a city made of glass and metal, with towers that reached toward the stars. Maya pressed her face against the ship window, watching this impossible structure grow larger as they approached. Zalara sat beside her and pointed with one of her forearms at different sections of the palace, explaining what each area was for. That is where the council meets to decide the fate of worlds, and there is where my father plans his conquests. Maya noticed how Zalara's voice became sad when she mentioned her father, and she wanted to ask more. But the ship was already landing on a platform made of purple crystal guards in silver armor, waited for them. But these were different from the arena guards because they wore the mark of the royal family and carried weapons Maya had never seen before. Princess Zalara, your father demands your presence in the throne room, immediately said the tallest guard, whose green scales reflected the light Zalara stood to, her full height making even the tall guard step back as she spoke. He can wait because I must first show my chosen companion to her new quarters according to tradition. The guards looked at each other, unsure what to do, because nobody refused the Emperor, but they also could not force the princess to do anything. Maya followed Zalara through hallways that seemed to go on forever, with walls covered in moving pictures that showed the history of the empire. She saw battles and conquests, but also moments of beauty like alien children playing and artists creating wonders. This is your room, said Zalara, as she opened a door to reveal a space bigger than Maya. Entire house on Earth with windows that showed the three suns setting over purple mountains. Maya walked inside and touched the soft bed that felt like clouds, then turned to look at Zalara, who seemed nervous for the first time. This is too much, princess. I am just a human who was fighting in your arena. An hour ago, Zalara moved closer and sat on a chair that adjusted itself to fit her unusual body with 4 arms. You are not just anything, Maya Thompson from Kansas, because you made me feel something I have never felt before. Maya could ask what she meant. A loud voice echoed through the palace, calling Zalara to the throne room immediately or face the consequences. The princess stood with anger flashing in her silver eyes, but Maya touched her arm gently, stopping her from leaving. Let me come with you, because if I am truly your chosen companion, then I should stand beside you when facing your father, said Maya with a determination that surprised herself. Zalara looked at her with something that might have been admiration, or maybe something deeper that neither of them had words for yet. You would face the Emperor for me when you just won your freedom from the arena? Maya stood straighter despite being so much shorter than the princess and smiled. I told you that humans fight for what they care about, and I think I am starting to care about you. They walked together through the palace while servants and nobles stopped to stare at the sight of their princess with a small human wearing torn arena clothes. Some whispered in languages Maya did not know, but she kept her head high. The throne room doors were 50 feet tall and opened without sound to reveal a space that could hold thousands, but currently held only the Emperor and his council of advisors. The Emperor was even taller than Zalara, with skin that shifted between purple and black like a storm cloud and 6 arms instead of 4. His eyes were completely white and seemed to look through Maya like she was nothing. "Daughter, you have brought shame to our family by saving this worthless human through trickery of old laws that should be forgotten," thundered the Emperor from his throne made of bone. Zalara stepped forward with Maya beside her and spoke with a voice that carried power. "Father, I have brought honor by following the true traditions of our people which value wisdom over bloodshed." The council members clicked and whistled in their language, but Maya had learned enough to understand they were split between supporting the princess and fearing the Emperor. "The human must prove herself worthy of standing in this hall or be returned to die in the arena tomorrow," declared the Emperor as he pointed one of his 6 arms at Maya. Maya felt fear but also anger at this creature who treated life as entertainment, and she stepped forward before Zalara could protect her. "I will prove myself, but not through violence, because that is all you understand, Emperor," she said, making the entire room go silent with shock at her boldness. The Emperor laughed, but it sounded like breaking glass instead of joy. "You dare speak to me, human, when your entire species could be destroyed with one command from me." Maya did not back down, even though every instinct told her to run. "That is exactly why you are weak, Emperor, because you think destruction is the same as strength, but I have seen your daughter fight and she is stronger than you will ever be." The council gasped and guards reached for weapons, but Zalara raised all 4 arms, commanding them to stop with her presence. Alone, the Emperor stood from his throne, towering over everyone as his skin turned completely black with rage. "You will fight my champion tomorrow at dawn, and when you die, your planet will burn for your insult." "No, Father, she will not fight because I invoke the right of bonding," declared Zalara, using words that had not been spoken in the royal family for 1,000 years. The right of bonding was the most sacred law that said any royal could choose a life partner from any species, and that partner would be protected by all the power of the Empire. The Emperor froze because even he could not break this law without losing his throne. But his voice was like poison when he spoke. "You would bond with this human and bring such shame to our bloodline." Zalara walked to Maya and took her hand with one of her own while facing her father with the other 3 arms spread in defiance. "I would bond with someone who shows me that there is more to life than conquest and fear." Maya squeezed Zalara hand and felt that same electric connection from the arena, but stronger now as she understood what the princess was sacrificing for her. The council began arguing loudly, but one ancient member with blue feathers stood and spoke with authority. "The law is clear, and if the princess chooses this human, then we must accept or abandon all our traditions." The Emperor sat back on his throne defeated, but his white eyes promised this was not over. "You have 3 days to complete the bonding ceremony, or I will find another way to end this insult." Zalara led Maya out of the throne room, and once they were alone in the hallway, the princess' shoulders sagged with exhaustion. Maya reached up to touch Zalara's face gently and asked the question that burned in her heart. "Did you mean it about the bonding, or was it just to save me?" Zalara looked down at her with those silver eyes now soft with emotion. "I meant every word, Maya Thompson, and if you will have me, I would stand beside you against my father and the entire empire." Maya woke up in the cloud-soft bed to find Zalara sitting by the window watching the 3 suns rise over the alien city. The princess had stayed all night to protect her from anyone who might try to hurt her before the bonding ceremony. "Good morning," said Maya as she sat up and noticed that someone had left new clothes for her to wear. Instead of the torn arena outfit, Zalara turned, and her 4 arms moved in what Maya was learning meant happiness in her people body language. "You slept well despite everything that happened yesterday, which shows your strength." Maya got up and picked up the new clothes, which were made of fabric that felt like silk but changed color when she touched it. "These are beautiful, but I do not know how to wear them. Let me help," said Zalara, as she stood and showed Maya how the alien garments wrapped around her body in ways that seemed impossible, but somehow worked perfectly. As Zalara helped her dress, Maya felt the princess' hands were shaking slightly, and she realized that the mighty warrior who had never lost a fight was nervous about touching her. The door chimed and a servant entered carrying a tray of food that Maya did not recognize, but Zalara assured her it was safe for humans to eat while they ate together. Zalara explained what the bonding ceremony would require, and Maya felt her stomach twist with worry, not from fear but from the weight of what they were about to do. The ceremony requires us to share our deepest truths in front of witnesses and drink from the cup of joining which will link us forever, said Zalara. As she watched Maya face for any sign of doubt, Maya put down the strange fruit she was eating and looked directly at Zalara with determination. Do you want this bonding, or are you just doing it to save me because I need to know the truth? Zalara stood and walked to the window where the morning light made her purple skin glow as she gathered courage to speak her heart. When I was young, my mother, Queen Tavara, told me that one day I would find someone who made me want to be better than I was, but she died before explaining what she meant, said Zalara with sadness in her voice. Maya got up and walked to stand beside her, seeing pain in those silver eyes that the princess usually hid so well yesterday in the arena when you smiled at me while bleeding and still ready to fight. I understood what my mother meant because you made me want to be better than just a weapon for my father to use. Maya reached out and took one of Zalara's hands, feeling that electric connection that seemed to grow stronger each time they touched. The princess continued speaking while holding Maya's hand tightly. I have killed hundreds in that arena and felt nothing but, when I thought about killing you, something inside me broke and I knew I could never be the same. Maya felt tears on her cheeks as she listened to this powerful being open her heart with such honesty. I want this bonding, Maya, not just to save you, but because you are the first person who has ever seen me as more than a princess or a warrior, said Zalara as she turned to face her. Fully, Maya had to stand on her toes, but she reached up and pulled Zalara down gently until their foreheads touched in what she hoped was a gesture of affection both species could understand. I want this too, Zalara, because you saved me, but also because you are brave enough to change your entire world for what you believe is right, whispered Maya against her skin. They stood there for a moment before another chime announced visitors and 3 aliens entered wearing ceremonial robes. Princess, we are the keepers of bonds, and we must prepare you both for the ceremony, said the tallest one, whose voice sounded like singing. The keepers led them through the palace to a room Maya had not seen before, where the walls were covered in symbols that seemed to move and dance. The shortest keeper, who had kind eyes despite being covered in scales, spoke to Maya directly. Human, you must understand that bonding with royalty means you can never return to Earth as the same person. Maya felt a pain in her chest thinking about her family, but she had already made her choice. I understand. But will I ever see my family again? Zalara squeezed her hand and spoke with certainty. I promise you that once we are bonded and I have more power, we will find a way for you to visit Earth safely. The keepers began drawing symbols on both their skins with paint that tingled and glowed, while chanting in the ancient language of the Empire. A crowd was gathering in the ceremonial hall, and Maya could hear them through the walls. Some sounded angry, while others seemed excited about witnessing something that had not happened in generations. The Emperor will try to stop this even now, warned the kind keeper as she finished painting symbols on Maya. Arms, let him try, responded Zalara with fire in her voice. As her 4 arms moved in a gesture Maya recognized as a battle stance. They were led to the ceremonial hall where hundreds of aliens had gathered, including the entire council and the Emperor, who sat on a portable throne with rage written on his face. The headkeeper raised her arms, and the room fell silent as she began speaking the ancient words that would bind Maya and Zalara together. Does anyone challenge this bonding? Asked the keeper as tradition demanded. The Emperor stood, but before he could speak, another voice rang out from the back of the hall. I support this bonding, said an old female, alien with 6 arms like the Emperor, and the crowd gasped because this was Princess Kalara, the Emperor's sister who had not been seen in the palace for 50 years. The Emperor could not challenge his sister without breaking tradition, and he sat down defeated as Kalara walked forward. She approached Maya and Zalara with eyes that held wisdom and pain from years of exile. I left because I too loved someone my brother did not approve of, and I will not let him destroy your happiness as he destroyed mine." Zalara bowed to her aunt with respect, and Maya followed her lead, understanding that this unexpected ally might save them. The keeper continued the ceremony, bringing forth a cup made of crystal that contained a liquid which sparkled like captured stars. Maya and Zalara each took the cup with their joined hands and drank together, while the keeper spoke words that echoed through time. As the liquid touched her lips, Maya felt a warmth spread through her body, and suddenly she could feel Zalara emotions like they were her own. "The bond is complete," declared the keeper, "and no power in the Empire can break it now." The morning after the bonding ceremony, Maya woke to find she could sense Zalara emotions even though the princess was in another room speaking with her aunt Kalara. The connection between them hummed like a warm river flowing through her mind. She got dressed in the clothes Zalara had given her and followed the pull of their bond until she found them in a garden she had not known existed, with plants from 100 different worlds growing together. Aunt Kalara was saying that the Emperor has locked himself in his war room and refuses to acknowledge the bonding, said Zalara when she saw Maya approach. The older princess turned to Maya with eyes that held centuries of wisdom and spoke directly to her. "Young human, you have done something I could not do 50 years ago, which is stand against my brother and win." Maya sat beside Zalara on a bench made of living wood that adjusted to support her back perfectly. "What happened to the one you loved, Princess Kalara? If I may ask." Kalara 6. Arms moved in a pattern that meant deep sadness, and she spoke with a voice heavy with memory. "She was from a species my brother had conquered, and when he found out about our love, he had her planet destroyed to teach me a lesson." Zalara reached out with two of her arms to comfort her aunt, while the other two pulled Maya closer, as if protecting her from a similar fate. "But you are bonded now, and even my brother cannot break that magic which gives you power." "He does not expect," said Kalara as she stood to leave them alone. When she was gone, Maya turned to Zalara and asked the question that had been bothering her since the ceremony. "What exactly does this bond mean for us? Because I can feel your emotions, but there seems to be more." Zalara smiled, and her silver eyes sparkled as she explained. "The bond grows stronger with time, and soon we will be able to share thoughts and even memories if we choose to open ourselves completely." Maya felt excited, but also scared, because she had never been so connected to another person before. "What if you see memories you do not like or learn things about me that change how you feel?" The princess took Maya face gently in two of her hands while the other two held her close. "You forget that I can already feel your emotions, and what I feel from you is courage and kindness and something else that we have not named yet." Before Maya could respond, an explosion shook the palace and alarms began screaming while guards ran through the corridors, with weapons drawn. "The Emperor has done something terrible," said Zalara as she stood and pulled Maya with her toward the throne room, where smoke was pouring through the doors. Inside they found chaos as the Emperor stood before a massive communication screen showing Earth surrounded by Crozan warships. "If you will not unbond from this human, then I will destroy her world and let her watch her species burn," shouted the Emperor when he saw them. Enter Maya felt rage like she had never known. And through their bond she felt Zalara fury matching her own. But the princess remained calm as she stepped forward. "Father, you would commit genocide to satisfy your wounded pride?" asked Zalara in a voice that made the guards step back. The Emperor laughed with madness in his white eyes. "I am the ruler of 1,000 worlds, and I will not have my bloodline polluted by this weak species." Maya walked past Zalara despite the princess trying to stop her and stood directly in front of the Emperor without fear, because the bond made her feel stronger than ever before. "You think humans are weak because we have no claws or extra arms, but our strength comes from something you will never understand, which is the ability to unite against tyrants like you said." Maya with her voice carrying across the room. The screen behind the Emperor showed the warships powering their weapons, and Maya felt panic but pushed it down as she continued speaking. "You can destroy Earth, but you will destroy yourself too, because the moment you fire those weapons, every species in your empire will see what you really are, which is a frightened old creature who kills what he cannot control." The Emperor raised one of his 6 arms to strike Maya, but Zalara moved faster than light, catching his arm with all 4 of hers. "If you touch her, I will challenge you for the throne, as is my right as your heir," declared Zalara. and the room went silent, because no one had challenged an emperor in 500 years. The law was clear, that any heir could challenge the ruler to single combat, and the winner would rule the empire. But no child had ever challenged their parent before. Kalara entered the room with dozens of guards loyal to her and spoke with authority. "Brother, accept the challenge or step down, because those are your only choices now." The emperor looked around the room and saw that many of the council members were nodding in agreement because they were tired of his endless wars and cruelty. Maya felt Zalara's determination, through their bond, but also her fear because the emperor had never lost a fight and had 2 more arms than his daughter. "I accept the challenge, and when I win I will still destroy Earth before killing you both." "Slowly," said the emperor as he removed his royal robes revealing battle scars from 1,000 victories. The great arena was prepared quickly, and word spread through the empire that the princess would fight the emperor for the throne and for the life of her human bondmate. As Zalara prepared for battle, Maya helped her put on armor and whispered, "I believe in you, and through our bond you will have human determination added to your strength." Zalara looked down at her with love that neither of them had spoken yet, but both could feel through their connection. "When this is over, we will go to Earth together, and I will meet your family as your bonded partner," said Zalara before walking to the arena floor. Maya watched from the royal box with Kalara beside her as the 2 most powerful beings in the empire faced each other with the fate of Earth hanging in the balance. The emperor attacked first with all 6 arms moving like a storm, but Zalara danced away using moves Maya had never seen before, flowing like water around his strikes. Through their bond, Maya sent Zalara all her love and courage, and she saw the princess grow stronger with each passing moment. The battle continued for hours with both fighters bloodied, but neither willing to yield until Zalara found an opening and struck, with all 4 arms at once, sending the emperor to his knees. "Yield, father, and live in exile, or continue and die by your own pride," said Zalara, standing over him with sadness, because despite everything, he was still her father.